Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Kognito Key. Today, we're going deep, really deep into the heart of your computer. We're going to pull back the curtain on a language that whispers directly to the hardware. So get ready because we're about to decode assembly language.
Take a look at all those zeros and ones on your screen. That's not just random noise, you know? That's actually the word hello, written in machine language, the language your computer is born speaking. Now, can you just imagine trying to code a whole app using only this? It would be so tedious and honestly a recipe for disaster. One tiny slip-up, one wrong digit, and your entire program could just, poof, crash. Thankfully, there is a much smarter way to do this, and that's where assembly language comes in. The best way to think of it is as a translator, right? It's a bridge that connects our human brains with the computer's binary world. It's what we call a low-level language, which really just means it's super close to the actual hardware, letting us talk to it without having to speak in ones and zeros.
So, how does this magic bridge actually work? Well, the secret ingredient is something called mnemonics. It's a fancy word, but they're basically just easy-to-remember keywords that stand in for those complex binary commands. So instead of typing a long, confusing string of numbers, a programmer can just write LD to load data, add to add something, or ST to store result. It's just so much more human-friendly, you know?
Okay, but wait a minute. That brings up a pretty big question, doesn't it? If the computer only gets ones and zeros, how on earth does it make any sense of these English-like words?
The answer is a super clever piece of software called an assembler. This is our star translator. Here's how it works. First, the programmer writes their code using those simple mnemonics we just talked about. Then, the assembler program gets to work. It takes that code and translates every single command into the pure binary that the computer's processor can actually understand and execute. Simple as that. To really see just how big of a deal this is, let's put assembly and machine language right next to each other for a little head-to-head comparison. This table really lays it all out, doesn't it? Assembly language is clearly built for us humans. It's way easier to read, which of course means you're going to make fewer mistakes. And this is a big one. If you need to go back and fix or change something, it's so much easier to do in assembly. Machine language, on the other hand, it's perfect for the machine, but for a person, it's just a nightmare to work with.
So we know assembly is a huge step up from raw binary, but let's be real. In a world filled with powerful, easy-to-use languages like Python or Java, you might be wondering, why do we even talk about this anymore? Well, let's dig into the power and the price of using assembly today. The absolute superpower of assembly is its direct line to the hardware. This gives programmers just an incredible amount of control, and that leads to programs that are lightning fast and super efficient. For any situation where every single nanosecond counts, assembly is absolutely invaluable. But, and this is a big but, there's a major catch. Assembly code is what we call machine-dependent. That means it's not portable at all. So a program you write for your laptop's Intel chip, yeah, it just won't work on the ARM processor inside your smartphone. You'd have to rewrite it. This makes it way more complicated than modern languages, which are designed to run pretty much anywhere. So where is assembly still hiding inside our modern gadgets? You'll actually find it right at the very core of your computer's operating system. It's used to write those super important device drivers that let your computer talk to your graphics card or your hard drive. And why? Well, think about gaming. For your graphics card to give you that buttery smooth experience, it needs the fastest instructions possible. And that kind of speed only comes from direct hardware control. You know, this quote just perfectly sums up the whole philosophy. High-level languages, they're all about telling the computer what you want to accomplish. But assembly language? It's about telling the computer exactly how to do it, step by tiny, meticulous step. It's all about that total granular control. And that really leaves us with a fascinating question to think about. In a world that is so full of easy, high-level languages, where does this raw, direct power over the hardware still play the most critical role? It's definitely something to ponder. And that's our deep dive into the world of assembly language. Thank you so much for joining us here on Kognito Key. If you enjoyed this explainer and learned something new, we'd be so grateful if you'd hit that like button, share it with a friend, and subscribe to our channel. We'll see you in the next one.